Well, the new Major League Baseball season is up and running, and it kicked off in Japan. Shohei Ohtani and the rest of the LA Dodgers team secured back-to-back wins against the Chicago Cubs in Tokyo in the Tokyo series, with Major League Baseball saying the two-game series drew an average, get this, audience of 24 million viewers. And to discuss all that and what we can expect from the rest of the season, I'm delighted to be joined by a pitcher who has a decorated list of former clubs under his belt in both America and Japan. Say hello to Jay Jackson.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks, Todd. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Jay, welcome to this sporting planet. I know you're back in the States. First of all, how are you doing? And obviously, the big question is what led to the decision to announce your retirement?
It just I'm doing great actually. Out here in Ogden, Utah, with my family, just enjoying the downtime before I start getting into any more interesting adventures, I guess you could say. But just I had a deal to go to Japan. I mean, not to Japan, to Mexico actually. And I was going to go down there and pitch and try to get my way back to the big leagues, but I just realized that I'm getting older. The wear and tear on the body to go down to Mexico without my family, was it going to be worth it? Was it going to be as fun as it has been, or would I just be down there like trying to just stress my way out, trying to get back to the big leagues and try to worry about it, and my body's breaking down, instead of just trying to enjoy the last days I have and enjoy the fact that my last pitch realistically was in the big leagues last year, and just enjoy the time I had and reflect on my career a little bit, instead of just worrying about trying to go out there and pitch and be in stressful situations and things of that nature, when it might not have been as fun as it once was, when my family wasn't going to be there as much as they could be this year as they have been previously.
Let me ask you this, and I know it's early in the process, but have you had a chance to reflect on your career and maybe some of your favorite moments?
I haven't truly got to reflect on it yet, not
Mhm.
truly sit down and think of all the things that have gone on the past 17 years. But I think once I do, I think it'll be fun. I've just looked at kind of like a grand like overview of things, like numbers here and there, and just kind of reflected on different times I've had. But I haven't really just sat down and did a deep dive into it yet. And I think once I do, it'll be interesting to see. And I think I'll be able to tell my story a lot better too, because there's a lot of things that happened that I've never really spoke up about, and I'll get a chance to really do that. And I mean, especially with last year, I mean, the numbers were inflated a little bit, but I was dealing with a little bit of an injury. So,
Yeah.
and I was trying to play through it, and that kind of led to it too. And then coming back from rehab, and it was just the body's getting older, 37, trying to do it all over again. I've had a lot of years under the belt. Unlike a lot of guys that are my age that have played baseball as long as I have, those guys have been in the big leagues most of the time. So they've probably got a little bit better, um, a little bit more funds in the pockets, one, but also a little bit better care because they've been in the big leagues so long and didn't have to go to winter ball and overseas and different things of that nature.
All right, let's put you to work. Let's talk about the start of the new Major League Baseball season with the Tokyo series. Why is there such a big connection, do you think, between Japan and baseball? And it obviously goes beyond the recent crop of Japanese stars like Ohtani and Yamamoto, right?
No, it definitely goes beyond that. You see the guys that came before them, the Dice K's, the one of my old teammates, Hiroki Kuroda. You see, Godzilla. You see all the guys that came over. And baseball is literally their country's main sport, besides
Right.
sumo wrestling. And sumo is great. I love sumo to death, but there's always going to be a fondness of baseball there. Baseball's been their main sport, their love, their favorite pastime. It's supposed to be America's favorite pastime, but it's probably really Japan's favorite pastime, right? But the love they have for that sport and the energy they show for the teams and the guys there, it's just unbelievable. Me playing there personally, you always see the support. There's never, I feel like, in America, we have a tendency, if guys don't perform well, there's a lot of negativity behind it, right?
Right.
We start tearing them down, we break them down here and there. Over there, it's the complete opposite. If you're playing baseball, they respect you enough to be like, hey, you're doing a hard job, so just keep going. We're going to support you no matter what. And so I think, it's a blessing to be over there, and the fondness they have and the respect for the game they have just shows through. And look at how many fans showed up every game over there.
You mentioned you played in Japan. How unique are the Japanese fans, not only in baseball, but just in the world of sport in general?
They are unbelievable. I think we take our sports here for granted a lot, but I think in
Mhm.
other countries, especially Japan, they realize how impressive and how awesome it is to be able to play those
Yeah.
sports, and how much dedication and time it takes. And they just respect it a little bit more. I mean, the fans over there, they love you so much. They treat you, I tell guys all the time, it's a give and take. because
Mhm.
the stardom that you have over there for baseball, you don't get to see it over here as much. You see the same stardom over here with the football and the basketball players, but over there we get treated like that. And I never wanted to leave, but it was unbelievable. I had a great time. They treated me so well. And just like I said, they respect everything you do and they respect who you are at all times.
Coming back to the States, Shohei Ohtani came up big last year for the Dodgers. Do you think he and the LA Dodgers can do the same in 2025?
100%. They reloaded the whole team without really missing a beat, right? They didn't really lose a lot, but they also gained a lot more. They add Snell, they get Trinan back, they add Yates, they add Tanner Scott. All the additions they have. They got Teoscar back, even though he had more money on the table from other teams.
Right.
We got to talk to Teoscar a little bit during the offseason when I was working out. He works out with one of the trainers that I know down in Tampa. And, he wants to win. He's a great guy, and the organization they have and the way they treat their players in LA, from everybody I've talked to, everybody wants to go to LA and play. And you see how guys, like, they're paying the guys, but at the same time,
Mhm.
guys are taking probably less money to go there so they have a chance to win. But I think it's also the culture they've built there as well. But they definitely have a chance to do the same thing over again. They didn't lose anything and gain more. It's gonna be interesting to see how they play. I mean, right now, at this taping, they're 7-0,
7 and
and
0.
just rolling them off. I don't think there's really been a true, like, really hard game for them yet. So I think the first two in Japan were probably just a little bit tougher just because of the time difference, the stadium, and all those things. But when they've come home, you see the games they've had. They've been playing really good baseball the whole time.
So if the Dodgers are the favorites in 2025 and they would be the first repeat champions if they could do it since 2000, who are the teams that you think are most likely capable and or able to stop them?
In the National League, you got to see the Phillies. The
Yeah.
Phillies have such a talented team, and they've got a good playoff pedigree. They've got a lot of championship ball players on there that have been in, Dicey's just was gone to the World Series, gone and played in big games, right? They've played the Dodgers a lot of times, and they've given them some tough times and some tough matchups. I think that's what it's going to come down to. And then you have the Braves. I think once they figure it out a little bit, they're struggling a little bit right now, but as they get going forward, I think that starting rotation, once they get their footing under them, the hitters get back, the warm weather gets down to Atlanta, the ball's carried down there a little bit too. You see the Braves gonna I think the Braves will have a good chance to, vie for a spot in the playoffs as well at some point. But then on the AL side, the way that I wanna see the Yankees do it again and play that series again, but I think losing Garrett Cole is the X factor to that whole
Oof,
team.
that's a big
But
blow.
torpedo bats might be the equalizer in that too, though, right? So we'll see. But I think there's going to be some teams that creep up. I think if Toronto can have their
Yeah.
pitching staff stay healthy, but Scherzer just went down. If they can have their starters stay healthy, their bullpen gets rolling a little bit more, and I think they make a big trade in the middle of the season to get another batter too. I think they can be right in the thick of things too. I really think the Red Sox are going to surprise a lot of people. I think Devers is going to get back on track at some point.
Oof, he's struggling right now.
I think just the offseason he had, being the guy and then getting told that I'm the guy and that I have to move, it's a different mindset shift you have to have. But I think in the team's defense, if you want to win a championship, Devers has to want to move and do that as well because it's for the greater good of the team, right? But I think the Red Sox have a good chance to take it as well. I'm interested to see how the Orioles are going to fare through a whole year because they keep slipping at the end of these years, and
Yeah.
it's tough to see them just like they're a bunch of young guys, and I know they're hungry for it, but it's something at the end of these years that they just don't hold on like the rest of these teams. So I'm interested to see how they're going to be. And then the Guardians always play good ball, and I really think the Royals are going to be something special too as well. I think the Royals are going to be sneaky. There's a lot of teams in the AL I think they can make some match in this because the AL West is a whole different ball game as well. I don't see the Astros running away with that division,
Mm-mm.
but I also don't see the Mariners stepping up and taking full advantage of that division, which is
Maybe not
which
quite
is
ready just
wild.
yet.
But they should be though, right? I mean, they've had
With
3
the
years
talent
on the
they have,
cusp.
you're right. Yeah.
Talent they have, they're on the cusp every year, and the same thing as the Orioles. The late season, that September, like, just kind of falls off a little bit. Something happens at the end of those seasons, and I think that's where you have the veteran ball clubs, like I said, that are probably going to have more of a chance to give the Dodgers a little push. Is probably the Phillies and the Braves. The Orioles did make a big splash with getting Morton and Sagano over there for starting pitching wise, but I think in the NL you're going to have more of a tougher task than some of the teams coming out of AL right now, honestly.
Having a nice chat with recently retired Jay Jackson of the Major League Baseball, former San Francisco Giant, my favorite team. Jay, thanks again for being with us here on This Sporting Planet. I've got to ask you, as you talk about some of the stars, how important do you think Juan Soto will be for the Mets, and how big of a blow do you think that will be for the Yankees losing him?
I think they tooled around him, losing him enough where it's not going to hurt as much. I think they might actually be a little bit better. I think
Okay.
defensively they are better, 100%. But I think offensively that's a huge blow. But again, with them figuring out these torpedo bats, it could be a little equalizer where you have Goldsmith have another career year, you have Bellinger have a career year, and then you have Judge just do his same thing. That I think that could make up for a little Soto, release right there, right? But he's a huge piece for the Mets, and I think the Mets just have to continue to build around him. And I think they got a lot done, but I don't think their starting pitching that they tagged along this year is gonna get them over the hump to get them to the World Series this year. I feel like they needed a couple more bigger starters and bigger pieces in that than what they got, but that team's gonna be a force in the next few years for sure.
For the fans that are listening and watching here on This Sporting Planet, explain to them as a pitcher what these torpedo bats mean, what you know about them, and is it really the bat, or is it? I mean, the New York Yankees just went to town on that opening series on the Milwaukee Brewers. As a pitcher, you got to hate thinking about facing them.
You used to hate facing the Yankees regardless, just because of everything they go into the game plans with. Because you're always told from every team I've played for, and that was one of the reasons I signed with the Blue Jays a couple of years ago, is because I wanted to play in the AL East and see how I stacked up against that competition. But you're always told the Yankees, they're trying to find your tips on your pitches. They're trying to find your tells and everything. They're watching your hand movements. They have scouts everywhere trying to find every little thing they can
Right.
to relay to the hitter so they have a better chance. And the fact that they've brought these torpedo bats out, again, everybody's saying like it's within the rules, which is all fine and dandy and all these things. But for me, I think it boils down to now hitters don't have to be as good at hitting to a certain degree, because with a torpedo bat, you're when you're younger, because I was a hitter in high school and college as well, you're taught to hit the ball where it's pitched, no matter, like, you're trying to hit the ball. And now I think somebody said the other day, now a good two-seamer down and in, which normally would be off the barrel to most guys, and that's a good pitch, is now with the torpedo bats, since you have the weight shifted or whatever else, that barrel comes down, and now that's, a double down the line. You see Volpe hitting homers on those same pitches where he was getting sawed off before. So you customize them to the hitters instead of making the hitters get better, I think, in a certain way. I think that's the way some pitchers are going to look at it. I think some old school pundits are going to look at it. And I kind of feel a little bit of the same way. Like, why are we tailoring these bats to these batters instead of just making them get better? Instead of it being the best hitters in the best league of all time, we're making, okay, well, since you can't hit this pitch great, let's tailor this for you to such and such. I mean, it's almost like golf to a certain degree, I guess. For
Right.
each level that you get to, you get a different bat, right? So
Right.
next thing you know, you're going to have different types of torpedo bats, right? And so a hitter knows what pitcher's coming up and how they face them and where they normally pitch them or whatever else. And so then they get a specific torpedo bat to go face that pitcher. That would be wild, right? But I think that might be the next wave that it goes to.
Like Stanton and Judge needing more help. Let me just ask you this: are there any breakout stars that you think we should be watching for? You talked about some of the young teams, like with the Baltimore Orioles and with the Boston Red Sox, Seattle Mariners. Are there any stars that we should be looking out for? And give me hope for my San Francisco Giants this year.
The Giants are looking good right now. The Giants are looking really good. I'll give you that.
There we
Breakout
go.
stars. I think the biggest one that I'd say probably this year is I want to see Lawrence Butler. I think him playing again. The A's are now in a AAA stadium, right?
Yeah.
So that
In
kind of takes
Sacramento.
away.
Yeah.
It was one of my old stadiums, right? I used to play there as well. But I want to see Lawrence Butler, like, after signing that deal. I don't want to see him put too much pressure on himself to make the deal
Right.
worth it necessarily. But I want to see him have a breakout year. He started on the edge last year at the end of the year. But I think he's going to be a key guy. I want to see Michael Harris has start off real slow. I want to see him have a little bit of a stronger middle of the season after the year he had last year. But I think, who is it? Jason Dominguez. I
Mm.
think he's going to have a huge year for that team because the lineup they have is full of veterans and he can learn from them. So I think that's going to be huge. And it's for the Giants in the AL West. I mean, NL West. I think the Giants are going to be in the thick of things. It's going to be interesting. Again, they always have the starting pitching, but I don't know how that lineup's going to stack up against the other starting pitching in the NL West, right? The NL
Yeah, the
West
NL
is
West is
so
so
tough.
stacked. Yeah,
It's
Dodgers,
so tough.
Padres, Giants. Yeah,
Giants, you have the Diamondbacks now with who the
yeah.
rosters they're putting together down there. And I mean, I don't ever want to talk bad about the Rockies, but like I just don't understand how they haven't figured it out. I mean, they've really realistically kept the same team there for the past like
Yeah,
15 years and haven't changed a single thing. They kept the same manager, same front office, and they keep getting the same players. I don't
great fan
understand.
base, great stadium.
And those fans want better because they've had better.
Yeah.
They deserve better, but I don't know what their deal is. But the NL West is always tough. Like I said, the NL East, NL West, and then you have the AL East. Those are the strongest divisions you get
Yeah.
out of the major leagues right now. But I think that's because those teams spend a lot on their guys.
Speaking of spending, Jay, good transition by you. Who do you think gets the next big monster contract after Juan Soto broke the bank and Shohei Ohtani broke the bank? You remember when Bryce Harper got his contract for the Phillies, and people were thinking, "There's no way it goes past that." Well, that's like, I don't say chump change now, but compared to what Ohtani and the rest of them are getting, it's like, wow, what's the limit? Who do you think gets the next big contract?
It should be Vlad. They're working on it right now, apparently, but
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
it should be Vlad, just for the simple fact that people talk about he shouldn't because of Juan Soto and because he's asking for a straight 500 mil or whatever, right? But for what his production has been, granted, he started off kind of slow. But for a guy that's going to give you pretty much what 275, 280 every year with 25 to 30 and 100 ribbies,
Right.
you can't ask for that, and plays a gold glove first base too, and the work ethic, and people want to be there. He's a great kid. I know him personally, and that's why I've always vouched for him getting his money on this. But I think the Blue Jays kind of just took a misstep on this as well, in the fact that, they could have got Vlad for a lot cheaper 2 years ago,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
And if they get Vlad 2 years ago for cheaper, I think they also could have tied up, an extension for Bo at the same time, and you could have had Bo and Vladdy there. You could have got Vladdy for probably like a 14-year deal at that time too, probably 14 or maybe even a 16-year, and then you could have tacked on Bo another probably 8 or 9, and you have your core two to build around for the next 10 plus. And I think that would actually help them get Shohei or possibly Juan Soto. So I mean, it was all just a trickle down effect, I think.
We're chatting with former Major League pitcher Jay Jackson, who sounds like he's auditioned to be the next general manager. Jay, well done by you. Hey, let me ask you this. What do you think the future is for players like, one of my favorite players, Mike Trout? Big contracts, but they just keep getting hit with that injury bug, usually middle to late of the season. What do teams do with that? Because that's a lot of financial commitment to a player who you're not getting anything out of.
I don't know, because you've really only seen that with the Angels for some reason.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
really think
that's a good
about it,
point. Yeah, that's a
you've
good
really
point.
only seen that happen with the Angels, where these deals go sour. I mean, it happened with Pujols. It's happened with Trout a little bit. It happened with Rendon. So I don't know if it's the water or the staff or whatever else over there. But I mean, I love Ron, so I want to see Ron do well over there. And I don't think that. I mean, obviously that was before his time too. But I think the ownership group has to look at what they're doing over there, why these guys are getting hurt, because everybody loves playing it in that area. Everybody wants to be in Southern California to
Orange
play baseball
County,
during the sun,
beautiful.
you know? But for some reason, all these guys are continuing to get hurt. And then the owners are like, oh, well, we didn't think they were going to get hurt. Well, there's something correlating where they're not paying dividends, because like all the other big contracts you've seen throughout the years have kind of paid off. You look at Harper's recently right now, like he's still playing very well, you know, we'll see how Juan Soto's plays out, but you have a lot of guys playing until they're 30. I mean, their late 30s and 40s. I played till I was 37, luckily. You see, Charlie Morton, you see Max, you see Jacob DeGrom, well, DeGrom's he's had some up and downs, but I mean, when he's played, he's actually helped those teams win games when he's been out there. Just kind of like Verlander and Scherzer, when they've played on these bigger contracts at the end, they've still been winning games and helping their teams win. So I think that's more of a Angels question than but as far as middle of the season, if a guy gets hurt, that's where you have to have good front office and good leadership, to the point that you pick the right people in the GM and the scouting department, that you have depth to at least cover some of that while they're gone. You're not going to get the same production out of those stars, because that's the reason you're paying them that much money, right? but you have to have the depth somewhere to be able to cover it, or be able to have the depth to be, or mindset to be able to go out and get that same caliber ball player somewhere else.
Well, here's hoping Mike Trout has a big bounce back year this year. We'll get you out here on this. A couple last questions for you because you've got the knowledge of a long career in Major League Baseball. Congratulations for that. Favorite city and ballpark to play in?
Oh, favorite city to play in? San Diego. San Diego, second tie would be San Francisco for sure, because
Oh,
fiance uh, was born and
good
raised in San
answer.
Francisco. Giants die hard. The Giants fans treated me well. I wish I could say I spent more time in Toronto because those fans treated me so well. Favorite fan base, I would say, would be Toronto because of how much love and support they showed me. But favorite ballpark has to be PNC because of just how gorgeous it is at night. People, like, we give the Pirates crap all the time because of
Yeah.
like just how they've played, but like if it was in a better place, like a warmer place, and had the same feel, like everybody would want to go there. Like that place is beautiful. How it sits on the river,
Yeah.
how it just like the overhead shots, just like the grass. The stadium itself is unbelievable. I've only got to be there like 2 or 3 times, but like every time I've gone, I've just been like in awe of like how majestic it just feels when you're there.
All right, before we let you go from this sporting planet, Jay, give us an idea of what you want to be doing next. What's on your agenda, your menu? Where do you want to be? Where am I going to find you when we hook up again in a year or so?
Hopefully I'm somewhere helping guys enjoy baseball. That's the main thing. I want to do some commentating, possibly some broadcasting, maybe. I'm working on a couple business ventures with some guys right now to get some thoughts just so I can help the youth. Because my main thing is I want to be able to leave the guys after me with something positive and help them build and enjoy baseball. Because I feel like a lot of times like guys are not loving baseball as much because they just see the paychecks and they just see that, hey, we can just spin this ball in here and be good, instead of guys truly loving baseball. So I want to have guys enjoy and truly like love the game of baseball again. And so I just want to be able to do that. Hopefully it's with a team. I've put some feelers out to a few teams to see if they would have me to come by and help and be part of the organizations that help guys, since I've recently retired. But we'll see. It's up in the air. I just know I'll be doing something that'll be helping the world be better. And, you know, my book's still out right now, so hopefully everybody's getting a copy of that. So that's one thing too. I might be doing some motivational speaking as well.
Go ahead and plug your book for us real quick. Where can we get it, title, and all that?
Book is on Amazon. Book is called 9 Innings to Living Your Best Life, a motivational self-help book. I like to tell people it's a universal book where you can use it. It touches your soul anywhere that you may be in your life, either happy, sad, highs, lows, it doesn't matter. You can pick this book up and you might find something, or you should be able to find something that'll help you, you know, be better, be happier, no matter where you're at. So I'd say definitely go get you a copy today. 9 Innings to Living Your Best Life. Achieve success when you smile. SMILE. Start making intentional life efforts. So definitely go get your copy. It's on Amazon right now.
I love it. And we're going to circle back with you hopefully for the Fall Classic. Give me your prediction of who's in the World Series and who wins.
World Series. I'm just gonna be different because I don't want to. I mean, I played for the Padres in the Giants. I can't give the Dodgers another World Series. So this is just me being biased. I know truly my true prediction is probably going to be the Dodgers and the Red Sox, but my biased opinion is going to be the Phillies and the Red Sox.
Wow.
That's what I have. Phillies and the Red Sox. I see it going 6 games. I see the Phillies squeaking it out. And I think Bryce gets it, and Bryce ends up being the MVP.
That's a lot of people would be very happy with that. Maybe not the Nationals people, but everyone else would probably be very happy with that. Jay Jackson, thank you so much. Appreciate your time, and we wish you the best of luck in retirement, and we'll circle back and talk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.